Welcome to Cape Chronicle. I'm Mike Rennick. We have outgoing Cape Girardeau City Manager Scott Meyer with us to talk about his 38-year career in public service, including the last 12 for the City of Cape. Scott, welcome.
Good to be here, Mike.
Very
Thanks
good
for having us.
You bet. Very good to see you. So it's gonna be kind of a show and tell a little bit in totoday's show. We're gonna look at some of the projects that you've had your hand in over the years, not just with the City of Cape, but MoDOT, CMO, and on down the line. I'll tell you that as you just look at many of these projects, the first thing that comes to my mind is growth. You know, I mean, it's just the city, the area has just been growing, and you've had your hand right there in a lot of it.
Well, we've been blessed as a community, and I've been blessed to be a part of it and just be kind of at the right place at the right time.
I know that starting before you were with the City of Cape Girardeau as a city manager, one of the big projects was your time with MoDOT and the Bill Emerson Bridge. Tell us about taking the reins on that, the role that you played in the Bill Emerson Bridge. And I know it was a project in the works for quite a long time, and then in 2003 finally came to fruition.
Well, it did. When I came to the area in '96, I believe it was, one of the projects, kind of the center project of the Southeast District was the Bill Emerson Bridge. So I kind of right place, right time, and that all that work that had been done preparing for that, we were just beginning to construction of the approach roads and then of the bridge. So what a career type of project to be a part of, and there aren't that many cable-stayed bridges in the world, and to have one that I got to be intimately involved in was quite a treat.
I guess if anyone had been on the old bridge before, they know, I mean, this new bridge is just amazing and has done so much for the area, obviously.
Well, it has, and I was lucky. I got to drive. I think I was one of the last people to drive over the old bridge, and it was just barely hanging on. But then when we blew it up, it had a hard, then it had a hard time coming down. But one piece came down early. That was kind of another thing. But no, it was a real blessing, and I think it has been a real blessing to open up commerce east-west here in Cape Girardeau.
Was that a project that you had experience with that in other previous jobs with MoDOT before, or was that kind of hey, this is a first time approach for you?
Well, I was involved with the planning and some of the early right-of-way projects with the Page Avenue extension in St. Louis.
Okay.
I was involved with a couple of other smaller bridges, the Missouri River Bridge at Jefferson City. So it wasn't really the focus of my career to that point, but I had some involvement with bridges before, but none that were cable stayed. Cable stay was a really pretty new methodology of building bridges at that time.
I was there for the festivities when the bridge opened, the run, and those sorts of things.
Oh, yeah.
It surprised me just really how there's quite a bit of incline on those bridges.
Oh, there really is, and they move. That's always the other one is when you get people on the bridges and they get to stand on the bridge. They move quite a bit, and people are a little surprised by that. But yeah, it's a lot of incline. You don't want water to stand on a bridge. You want it to shed that water. Those aren't good for the bridge either. So all the chemicals, we want those to get off of that bridge deck.
As far as your time at Southeast Missouri State University, I know that you were busy with your hands in many things. Particular project that stick out? I know the River Campus is kind of the shining star, so to speak, or the one that many people are familiar with. But you also laid the groundwork for the elimination of the coal-fired plant and change over to natural gas.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing. Again, the River Campus was kind of that. A lot of people did work to get it ready to be built, and so I was really fortunate to be able to do the build on that. It was kind of the opposite with the coal-fired plant. There was a group of students and faculty that were looking at ways to reduce the footprint, the carbon footprint of the university, and they took a hard look at the coal-fired plant, and so we began to look at what are some options to do that, and came up with the idea of using natural gas instead of coal to produce the steam, and so by doing that, we were able to make a lot of progress. But I laid the groundwork for that, and then Angela Meyer, who came after me, really did a great job of accomplishing that project.
We'll talk about the River Campus here in a second. Other projects that stick out with your time at Southeast?
Well, we enjoyed building the dorm in the end zone of the campus, of the football field, and that was kind of a real interesting project, a very difficult project because of its location. Just to clear and then get foundations down and build that up in a small footprint was difficult and a challenge, but that was a nice complement to the kind of resurgence of Houck Field and Houck Fieldhouse.
It really kind of bookends, so to speak, kind of encloses that stadium very nicely.
Yeah, it does. And then we had the students were able to stay there, and so it met two different needs. And then in the bottom floor, they were able to do some locker rooms that they needed and training facilities. So that was really important to meet several needs of the university.
The River Campus, right there by the bridge, obviously. So that's it's kind of unique that two projects that you have your hands in. Talk about how that began. I know it was a former Vincentian seminary. Yes. What was some of those early conversations like to get the River Campus underway?
Well, and a lot of that again happened before I got there. So really, it's other people's accomplishments. I got to build it, but a lot of those were really around how could you build it there and how could you preserve the history of something that's built prior to Abraham Lincoln being president, and hold on to that and reuse that in a way that could really add to a fine arts campus, and then build something new onto that wouldn't look out of place, and then make it all work to really establish Southeast as a fine arts draw for students, and really it turned out amazing, and that's because of the planners that did all of that. We had some really neat challenges with foundations and with acoustics and all sorts of things that I got to learn about as a result of being involved with that project. We acoustics, you design for them, but then you have to build for them, and then you have to check them and make sure that it's working right and make adjustments to acoustics, just like you would tune a HVAC system for heating, air conditioning, and ventilation. You also have to tune for acoustics when you're dealing with that type of facility. So that another one of those things you learn and dig into and really learn a lot about. And actually, I think the Shuck auditorium is world class in the class of what it was designed for. So that's something to be proud of.
What are some of the buildings that are at River Campus that were part of that original seminary that have been utilized for the River Campus?
Yeah, so the Shuck is the auditorium that was the I guess the sanctuary there for the seminarians, and then a lot of the dorms became offices, and then there were some other bigger spaces that became art spaces, and so that was primarily the offices, the rehearsal rooms, the auditorium, and then some meeting rooms all came in that old seminary. And then we built the big addition, housed the big auditorium, the black box auditorium, and the dance studio. So those three studios are in brand new buildings, and those came along as the first phase. And then after I left, then they built the new dorm, the Dobbins dorm, and then the facilities and the classrooms over there. There are also classrooms in the old seminary as well.
It's an amazing facility.
Absolutely.
As you mentioned the acoustics and learning about acoustics. I would imagine a building project like that takes you into areas that you probably never thought that you'd be broaching before for yourself.
Absolutely, and it's one of the, I guess, the delights of I've had with having the opportunities and being in the right place at the right time. I really have had the ability to learn new things, and you know, it's just so good to always be learning. and it opens your mind to things you never thought you'd be involved in and learn about, and really learn to appreciate things like that. And so, you know, we also went inside of the seminary and made it earthquake resistant by putting concrete walls on the inside of those brick walls and tying them together with L-bars. That was an incredible process that had to take place. Basically build this building inside of a building in order to make sure that would withstand a pretty good earthquake, and people would be able to get out safely. When you're dealing with students and citizens, you want to make sure that they can be safe even in that worst of case of an earthquake.
Well, it's a beautiful sight, whether you're coming in from Illinois or heading out of Missouri, the bridge and the river campus right there. It's a beautiful sight to see as you're driving by. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue talking with City Manager Scott Meyer on his many years of service to Cape Girardeau. Stay tuned.
It's a miracle that springs forth to feed us, to clothe us, to bring us joy. A miracle prompted by rain and warmed by the sun. But few realize without healthy soil below ground, there would be little life above it. Learn more about this miracle under our feet and how we're working with farmers and ranchers to unlock the secrets in the soil.
Welcome to Cape Chronicle. I'm Mike Rennick. We're talking with City Manager Scott Meyer about his 38-year career in public service, including the last 12 years for the city of Cape Girardeau. So we hit on the pre-Cape Girardeau, super exciting and you know, fantastic project. So let's talk about your 12-year run as city manager. I saw here over 25 bosses, 8 at a time, with 40,000 citizen bosses.
Yes.
So you got a lot of people in your ear, or you have had a lot of people in your ear.
Well, they're still there, yeah. No, it's you know, it can be frustrating, but you know, it's also a blessing. One of the things as an engineer, you just want to sometimes you just want to get things done, and
Sure.
But one of the things that government is it is of the people and by the people and for the people, and so listening to people is a very important role of city manager, and really I think it's for all public servants, because sometimes the most professional administrative thing to do, all the data says that's what you're to do, isn't right for your community at that time. And that's the reason our elected officials are elected, is because they are to have that pulse of what the people think and what the people is best for them at this time. And so we sometimes need to make adjustments. And that's one of the challenges, but I think it's also one of the beauties that come out of what and why and how we are, and what makes Cape a special place is because we make those adjustments. You know, I always tell my city manager friends, we're probably the only place in America that turned down the smoking ordinance, and then right after that, all the restaurants went no smoking. And it really says a lot about what we are. We're independent. We don't want to be forced to do things, but we also are smart enough to know when the public wants something and adjust to it. And I think I just think it's a great example of who we are and why listening is so important.
Longest running city manager in Cape Girardeau history. And obviously, as I mentioned at the beginning, just a lot of growth. You know, I mean, we talk about how great of a place it is to live in Cape Girardeau, and your hands are on a lot of things that have made that be the way that it is. You know, you started out in an economic downturn, you know, in '09, and through the pandemic, and have led, you know, with no mass layoffs or shutdowns, which were common nationwide. How'd you do it?
Well, I remember when I interviewed for the job, one of the things that we talked about with council at that time was, you know, I believe in people, and I believe in people's ability to innovate and find a way when there is no way. And so we have been able to do that because we have great people. It's nothing that I've ever done. It's really because we have great public servants, understand their role, that they're professional at what they do, and they really want to do what's best for the city. And so when you ask them to buckle down and find a way to do some things more efficiently so that we don't have to lay off people, they've been able to do that. And so I really give credit to our staff and our workforce all the way through who were able to do that. And they had to understand in those times, you know, raises weren't on the agenda.
Sure.
And they, you know, they were able to push through that. And so I give all the credit to them. Nothing I did other than just believe in who they are.
Couple projects that I want to make sure we talk about. One of those being a new police station. It's a beautiful state-of-the-art police station. Opened up. It's been a couple years now. Hard to believe. Time flies.
Yeah.
What were some of the discussions about where you put it and why you put it there, and how it was made, how it was built?
Yeah, there were a few fits and starts there, just because, you know, as all those projects are, we start out and we got an idea, and then you think about it and study it, and so we ended up where we are. But when we first talk about the police station, I think about going over for a meeting, and I was sitting in a meeting, and all of a sudden water was dripping on my head, and that was the state of their roof. And a lot of the systems they had. So the need was great, and when we began to look at it and show it to people, they began to almost be embarrassed by it. And again, that's our citizens. They say, you know, if we need something, you show us the need. They stepped up, and so they stepped up for when we renewed the fire tax, making a part of that go. We had a few other pieces that we brought to the table, the casino funds and others, in order to build a state-of-the-art police station. We looked at several locations. We looked at remodeling the existing, and we really ended up over at Arena Park. We actually had a reserve building over there that came back to us. We looked at remodeling that, but then when we really looked at it, it was more efficient, not only in the initial, but certainly in all of the operating, to build a brand new state-of-the-art jail, police station, and municipal court. And so that's what we were able to do.
We've been talking with Scott Meyer. After this break, Mayor Bob Fox will join us. That's all next on Cape Chronicle.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our technical skills, our math, our engineering skills. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our organizational skills, our problem-solving skills. you're going to need our determination, our honesty, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
This is not your mom's Southeast Missouri State University. Today, you'll do the work before you get the job. And when your tenacity is tested, your strengths are stretched, and your confidence secured, we'll help you find the place where you'll be extraordinary. At Southeast Missouri State, we're proud of where we've been, but we're focused on where we're going. And right now, we have opportunities you didn't even know existed.
Welcome back to Cape Chronicle. I'm Mike Rennick. We're back with outgoing City Manager Scott Meyer, and Mayor Bob Fox has joined us. Welcome, Mayor.
Glad to be here.
So before we went to break, we were looking at the new police station. Let's look at a couple other projects. The new wastewater treatment facility. Tell us about that project.
Well, that was a forced project really from the Department of Natural Resources. We had a notice of violation. We had to do something about it. So we were able to build a state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant that will allow us to grow into the future. We were limited really in the amount of growth we could have in our city without a new facility. So it addresses all of that.
And Fire Station 4, another one?
Yep, again, a outdated facility. We were able to move to a facility that fits our equipment and makes us able to address the needs of the citizens in the best way throughout our city.
And I know that you were key in initiating a porch, the South Cape neighborhood, trying to put an end to the violence and poverty there as well.
Yeah, generational poverty. The good thing I think about what's happening there is they're using a model that has proven successful nationwide to address generational poverty. Now, you don't do that overnight, but I think we're making great progress in that area. It's kind of like the Old Town Cape of South Cape. Old Town Cape took a while to get going, but think of all the transformation that took place there. That's going to happen in South Cape with the cooperation and collaboration of Porch.
Mr. Mayor, when he came on earlier, I said the word that comes to mind is growth, and what he's done and been a part of for Cape Girardeau. And boy, there have been some projects.
There have been a lot of projects. You think the Parks and Stormwater first tax was passed in 2008, right before he started. And he was here and instrumental in doing a lot of those projects, building Cape Splash, Shawnee Park Center, remodeling Osage and arena building. And then later on, you get to the next phase of that passed in 2018. And look at what they're doing in Capitol Hall Park. The master plans for all the parks have been phenomenal. And you got the Sportsplex. That's been a win-win for the city. It's just, and there are all the other projects that have gone on. He was here for the passage of 3 TTFs, 4, 5, and 6, Parks and Rec 1 and 2, fire tax, all those things that people have supported, what we want to do. And Scott has a unique ability to surround himself with an excellent staff, and that's been great. But he's also got the council integrated to the point where we've got public support for what we do in the city. We say what we're going to do and we do it, and that helps.
Yeah, it seems like, as you just said, the education gets put out to the public, people understand the benefits, and it gets done. And that's, I know you gave a lot of kudos to staff and citizens, but obviously it starts with certain leadership. And that's been you over the last 12 years. So what's next?
For me?
For you?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out. I've talked with some different people and some people about some possibilities, and so Susan and I plan to stay in Cape. We want to still be here. Her folks live here now, and so we will be here. We just don't know exactly what capacity now, but don't write us off. We're not.
He's not going anywhere. He's going to start playing golf too.
Well, I was wondering if fishing was your forte or not. But,
no, I'm not a fisherman. I don't really play golf. So I don't.
As big as he is, he can get a lot of momentum behind that club.
It'll go the wrong direction, the long way,
just
the long
just
direction.
a matter of getting it straightened out.
That's right. Well, you'll find the right thing to keep you occupied, keep you busy. Obviously, Cape Girardeau is home to you, and I imagine that you're interested to see the vision moving forward.
Absolutely. Tremendously excited about Kenny coming and what he has to offer. The skill set that he has, will be different than mine and will be great to move us ahead even further. And just can't wait to see what's going to happen.
All right. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Both. Congratulations. And
much.
thank you so much. And thank you for joining us today for Cape Chronicle. The program is a collaboration among the Department of Mass Media at Southeast Missouri State University, the City of Cape Girardeau, and River Radio. Our producer is Nicolette Brennan. Our executive producer is Dr. Jim Dufek. I'm your host, Mike Rennick. Thanks for watching.